What do you make of Nick Sirianni and the way he's handled his first year as head coach?
I think he's done a very good job. I mean, I think it's a learning curve for a lot of these guys, and the NFL, you get some of these guys and they're really bright. They're good on one side of the ball and they mostly come on the offensive side now.
All right. As promised, I'm going to bring my friend in, Chris Landry, from Landry Football. And please, guys, make sure you go over and take a look at all of his evaluations and all of the conversation, both on the college and pro levels. Which quarterbacks do you think are going to be looking for new zip codes in the 2022 season? We'll talk to Chris about that. But, Chris, I brought you on here because I wanted to get your assessment of Jalen Hurts so far. And I'm going to throw some numbers at you. He's trending right now this year for 3,700 yards, about 320 completions, a 24-8 touchdown to interception ratio, little low on the completion percentage at around 61.4, and the QBR at around 92. And let's add in the 925 or 27 yards rushing that he's going to bring to the offense. Maybe I'm skewing the question here, but when I hear numbers like that, and I see numbers like that, and I see the team at 4-6, and they are getting better, is Jalen Hurts, in your eyes, getting better?
And no question he's getting better. There's no question about that. In fact, he's already better than I thought he would be in this league. I think that certainly coming out, I question whether he can be as functional in the pocket. I think he's improving there, but in today's game, his ability to create spacing and coverage because of his threat to run, even when he doesn't run, you have to prepare for that. And I think he is very poised. He's very smart. He's very underrated. He's soft-spoken. But he's been well schooled. He's been at two major programs, including a program that teaches the passing game very well and one that really understands how to protect the football. So he's well prepared coming in. I don't think he's a great passer, meaning in terms of arm talent, getting the ball out on time, accurately, but because he's a threat to run and because he can run to throw, he creates spacing and he delivers the ball well. And when you've got a little bit extra space, you can maybe be a little late. And he's got a good arm. I think he's just been really good. I think they've also done a really good job with him, and I think Coach Sirianni and his staff deserve a lot of credit for that. They've done a nice job. Look, I think it is so interesting because I had them thinking, okay, they're going to be in the quarterback shopping business. I looked at that. Now I'm thinking, I think they probably feel like, and I'm beginning to think, hey, they've got their quarterback. And, hey, how great would that be for that franchise if they can go forward and begin to build more talent around them, because they're two types of teams, ones that have a quarterback and ones that are just desperate to try to find one. And if you've got one, you can, build a team around one. So good for them. He's progressed a lot better than I thought he would at this point.
And Chris, do you agree as a talent evaluator that one of the hardest things to do is when you see something that's not conventional and you see it moving the chains unconventionally, that it's a harder progress when you're talking about giving an evaluation on something? Because to me, we've talked before in the past about Lamar Jackson. That's a tough evaluation. He's getting better throwing the ball. He's elusive. It's a must-see ticket. But do you see the confetti falling on him? And do you see this guy leading a team to a Super Bowl with that style? Does it become more about the method on you having to be convinced? And where I'm going with this is these guys are going to have 3 first-round picks in the top 10. To me, I'm always going to draft a quarterback, but it's going to determine how Jalen plays these next 7 games on what round that's going to be. Do I need maybe I go in the first round? I don't know if I see anybody I like out there this year or free agency, what have you. Maybe I draft a guy in the 4th round. Maybe I find a Dak Prescott, or in the 5th round or 6th round, like I find a Tom Brady. Is that how the mentality of the talent department is working right now, and how they're going to go forward? These next 7 games are going to tell them what they're going to do in the draft at quarterback?
Oh, I don't think there's any question that it's not just the games, but how he prepares and how he improves. So I think you bring up something that's really valid here that we got to attack. Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, the, what you're looking for in a quarterback, the athletic ability is great. The play extensions are great. It's, one of the things that is tied to it, as you know, is when you have really good athletic ability, you sometimes don't worry about going through your progressions or being as patient because you just take off and run because you got it. He ain't going to see Tom Brady do that because he can't run. So his mobility is, I got to get it out quicker. So when you look at, say, a Mahomes who can do all sorts of ridiculous things from an ambidextrous and sidearm platform stuff, it's his ability to make plays in the passing game. So what's really the key? What's the key to being a championship level quarterback? It's not how much you run. It's really what is your ability to make plays in the passing game. So if you can run, that's great. But if you're limited in the passing game and everything has to be, we're going to run, we're going to control the game at the line of scrimmage, and then we're going to force numbers in the box, and then we're going to take our shots, that's great. That usually can have success against a lot of teams in the regular season, and you become a good regular season team. But what happens if you faced the best of the best in the playoffs, maybe that in the first round, but maybe what if somebody can slow your running game down? What if you turn the football over? What if you get down 17-3? Can you come back at 17-3 in the third quarter? Can you run your 2-minute offense as effectively as your 4-minute offense? And vice versa. Because to me, the teams that can go up and down the field, but they can't close out games, they don't have a good 4-minute offense, they're always subject to people coming back on them. But sometimes, and I see that a lot, and sometimes you wonder, okay, if you have to play left-handed, I mean, you've got to go run 2 minutes, how effective can you be? If you're limited there, that puts a glass ceiling on you in terms of championships. You might be able to win 10 games, which is going to be the number now with 7 teams in each conference. You might be able to do that, but are you good enough? So that's the answer is, can we be good enough in running the 2-minute, 4-minute offense? Can we work the entire field? To me, that's what balance is. Balance is not run-pass ratio. It's like, can you force the defense to defend all parts of the field? And then can you, we're looking at right now a Rams team that defensively is great when they've got a lead, when they can pin their ears back and rush the passer. But are they as good defending the run? So it's the same way on both sides of the ball. Can you control it? And that's going to be the key that they're going to have to determine about Jalen. Just quite frankly, like I think clearly they've decided that on Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. But that's the variable of, well, can he win the Super Bowl? Well, can they make enough plays in the passing game when they have to? That's the answer to the question, and that's what we got to figure out, and only time's going to tell that.
What do you make of Nick Sirianni and the way he's handled his first year as head coach?
I think he's done a very good job. I mean, I think it's a learning curve for a lot of these guys, and the NFL, you get some of these guys, and they're really bright. They're good on one side of the ball, and they mostly come on the offensive side now. But sometimes they're not really good leaders, and they work that side of the ball, and they hired a savant on the other side. And then sometimes it's about personnel, and it's about getting the most out of your personnel. And I think he's got a lot out of the quarterback. The team has some talent on defense, and I know their offensive line's got some age on it, but they don't have enough playmakers. They've got a receiver that's making a lot of plays for them, and so all of a sudden you put a few pieces together. It's funny how that works. I mean, it's really a big part of it. I mean, we're seeing that a lot too, and that's something that I think that's helped Jalen. I mean, it's what's the difference? I mean, like Mac Jones is doing a great job in New England. Well, he's cerebral. He gets the ball out on time. He's accurate.
And they're running the
Got
ball.
got a good team around him that can run it, and they're playing as good a defense as anybody in football. You put Jalen or Mac, you put them in Jacksonville.
Right.
You got, oh, well, what's wrong with them? Well, what's wrong with them is it may be the most important position in football, but it's also the most dependent. I mean, you just can't do a whole lot. Okay, well, go out, try to win a game. And, well, just go ahead, drop back, throw it 45 times a game, and it's not going to have success. You see all pro caliber quarterbacks that don't have success doing that if that's all you can do.
Do you think that Frank Wright has righted the ship with Carson Wentz?
I think that when Carson is healthy, and I think that was a big part of it, man, I've never seen that. I've never seen a guy had 2 bad ankle sprains. I mean, folks, I mean, not, ankle sprained and healed. I'm talking about both of them. I mean, man,
Yeah.
you just can't hobble. You can't hobble on the good one. You can't do anything. I have seen Frank had success with Carson before. I don't know. I mean, to answer your question, I don't know. I want to see more. I want to see the rest of this season play out, but I see things getting a little bit better. But they've dug themselves a hole that it's going to be tough to get out of.
And to get back to the Eagles now, Devontae Smith, I'll tell you one thing that I'm seeing too, Chris, the last 3 weeks since they've been able to run the ball, play action pass. And to your point about Mac Jones up in New England, I think one of the reasons why he stays out of trouble is because the ability of them to be able to run the balls in between the tackle. And that helps any young player. It helped out Roethlisberger when he was developing in Pittsburgh. They were able to run the ball with Bettis and those guys. That's kind of what you're seeing in New England. And now there's been an emphasis by Sirianni over the last couple of weeks to run the ball. I thought they ran the Broncos off the field after the Broncos destroyed the Cowboys, and they did a really nice job running the ball here. So that opens up more lanes then for Jalen to find Devontae Smith. He's on pace for roughly around like 68 catches and 1,000 yards. How do you think he's coming along?
Well, and to your point, though, running the football, yes, and playing good defense.
Yes.
You know that the running the football and playing good defense, Dan, and you talk with people all the time, they don't get that. That the defense, if you're giving up a lot of points, you're down 13, 17 points in this league. You're not running the football anymore. You can be good at it, but you abandon it. Guess what? You expose the fact that, we've got to be pass first. So now the passing game can't be worked through the run game. Play action doesn't work. You can't suck the linebackers in. So, yeah, no, I think that is 100% right. It's the complementary football that I preach all the time, and I probably sometimes with the listeners, sometimes people ask, well, explain what do you mean complimentary? Well, that's what it is that run it, play good defense, keep people off balance. Hey, what's a way to slow down a pass rush? I mean, yeah, you got to have good pass protectors, but you know what? Make them think about the run.
Yeah.
Make them think that the run might be coming. The threat of run might be there. Well, the teams that are really good, that are really explosive, Kansas City lives on, explosive plays, scoring a bunch of points. And then now we can rush the passer because we always have a 14-0 lead. Well, when they don't have that balance, it's not the same, and the defense is not the same, and they're frustrated because they don't have the ball enough, and it's not quick enough, and then they're, so that's where teams get out of sorts if they are off schedule from the way they're built to play.
Chris, last week Howie Roseman went to Pittsburgh to see Howe and Pickett play in that Pitt, North Carolina game, and he was there evaluating the quarterbacks. A two-part question here. What do you make of Howie as a talent evaluator? And are there any guys in that draft coming up in 2022 where you go like this, man, I really love this kid Corral. He's fantastic. Or this kid Pickett you talk about a guy that has just catapulted up people's charts. It's been the kid from Pitt, but I'm always worried about that because I think of Mitchell Trubisky at Carolina, or I think about some of these guys who are just like on a streak and they get into the NFL and all of a sudden they get game planned on. I know I went a little long here with this, but I mean, give me your thoughts on how and the job and the task that Howie has to evaluate some of these quarterbacks. Are they worth a first-round pick and his ability to evaluate that?
Well, on the question of Howie, and look, I'm old fashioned, Dan. You've known you. We've known each other for a long time. And I don't want this to come across like be a jerk, okay? But I believe that those of us that played it and coached and scout, I think that's a big part of having been there. It's really important. It's not that you're smarter than anybody else, but it's experience. So I worry about guys. I think Howie's a really good administrator, but he doesn't have the background in football to evaluate.
Let me stop you there before you go on, Chris. And I made this point the other day that I think he is an exceptional businessman. They're $21 million under the cap.
Yep.
And that's with Wentz money on it. And they have 11 picks. I guess this goes into you. Does he have the football knowledge to be able to evaluate enough to be able to utilize those picks and that money?
No, but I think he's smart enough to listen to his football people that do know. And if he's smart, that's what he'll do. And look, I have no problem with people that haven't played that to get into the sport. I think it's great. I think you can train people how to scout, how to learn things. But I think there's some things that's always missing. If you haven't played defensive line, coach defensive line, there are things that you're going to miss. I always like not all players, ex-players will work hard at it, Dan. So they're not good either. Some people but to me, that's a good starting point, having a good base. So I think what we have a lot of times is people that don't come up from a football background that want to be football evaluators. I say this. I say you're really good in today's cap world. You have to have guys like that. I think, save the plane ticket for and put put somebody in there, and then listen to the people that know. And I wouldn't. I don't mean to be rude. I don't care what Howie Roseman thinks about a quarterback or any player because he doesn't have the training and the aptitude to evaluate. Doesn't mean that all the draft picks are there are bad, but it's because of football people. And again, the issue I have with that is
he's an accountant. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah. But let me ask you this: if I told you Howie Roseman or somebody like that was going to become the next head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, what would you say?
Inexperienced.
Would you? I mean, it's like, how the hell is he going to coach?
Yeah.
Okay, now a head coach should be a guy that can coach the coaches and knows how to work with the coaches because the head coach sometimes has to fix things on the staff, doesn't he? Well,
Yep.
how the hell are you going to fix it if you've never coached yourself? Well, if you're a general manager, and again, as a personnel guy, how are you going to evaluate the scouts if you've never scouted yourself? How are you going to know who's doing? Well, you see how many hits, how many misses. Yeah, okay, that's fine. How are you going to train them to get better? I mean, with all due, it could be like Mayock got in, all those people. It's not that they're not intelligent; they're bright people, but experience matters. And if it's not the NBA where you say, "Hey, you finished? Come on and coach this team," and ask LeBron who he wants to play, and thank you, and do a press conference. That's coaching there. Football's a little different in my mind, and this is the football guy coming out of me. Yeah, it takes a lot of experience to go through a lot of situations to come out with how do you deal with that. It doesn't mean to say, well, I don't want you to be part of our group. No. I think you embrace it. But to me, people like that have a place in an organization, but I want their opinion on numbers and salary cap. But how I'm going to allocate the money is going to come based on football intuitive skills because it is a business, but it's the business of football. So, I mean, I want somebody ideally that's a sales manager in a company that's actually been a salesman because how are you going to help train the salesman? How are you going to help get them better? If you've never done it, how are you going to do it? I think that's the problem. And I think not all people that are good football people make every pick right. I don't mean that. But that's how I feel about it. But who's to say Howie's not strongly listening to people and have people to do that? But I think that's what happens sometimes is you get that guy that's got that can chirp in the ear of the owner, and that's the owner's confidant. And you know what happens when things go bad. You got those type of guys that are chirping in the ear of the owner during the game day, and we got this, and the players are good. He's not coaching. That's how that stuff works in this league. I think there's not enough development, not enough working in unison with good football people. I mean, how are you going to sit there and how's a head coach going to sit there and respect somebody that doesn't really know how to bring him the right type of football player? Hey, not how he's some rank somewhere, but who fits? Do you understand what our blocking scheme is? Do you understand what type of guard that we need? Do you understand that? Or is it just, well, hey, Dan Sileo can run that. Do you understand? Can you look at film and can you see what Dan can do on tape and how he might differ from Warren, but he has, those are the type of things that it takes experience to see. Then if you don't have it, you got to get it.
Absolutely. I completely agree. Chris, do me a favor. Tell everybody how they can get all of your stuff. And believe me, folks, it's some of the best stuff, especially as we're getting towards the end of the year. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be talking about these quarterbacks moving and also the NFL draft. Chris, tell folks how they can get in touch with all your info.
We appreciate it. LandryFootball.com. It's film room evaluations, college, NFL, previewing all the games each and every week, reviewing them inside the film room, telling you how players graded. Check that out. Everything from college football recruiting to the draft stuff. A big part of my consulting business now is coaching search work. So we on top of all of that, giving you all the inside information and who are the up-and-coming guys and what's the good fit. So if you like football, it's like having your own scouting department. It's like you're an owner of a team, you're president of a university. It's like having your own scouting and coaching department at your disposal for less than a magazine subscription. So check it out, LandryFootball.com. Take advantage of the football season sale. We still got it going on.
Absolutely, man. Everybody should go over there and check it out. Chris, thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. Happy holidays, brother.
Happy Thanksgiving, man. Take care. Talk soon.
You got it. All right, man. Got a whole bunch of people jumping aboard with us. Did you hear what Chris just said? How he should not be making your picks. Okay, I'm going to throw the word in. He basically thinks he's a librarian, and he's not a football person. We'll get your thoughts. Please do me a favor, guys. Please hit the like button. Keep it right here on the National Football Show.